This dumbass can't even go 5 minutes without implicating himself.
I haven't seen you in a while. $5 million. For $5 million, this could be yours.
This is so incredibly embarrassing. To all of the Trump supporters that I know watch my videos and leave trolly comments, can you just admit that having a salesman president who has based the first few months of his presidency off of selling crypto and Trump cards and some of the corniest stuff imaginable is likely just a con man. On top of that, Trump was then asked about the stock market being in free fall due to his unpredictable tariff policies, and he also doesn't have a good answer. Another example of him being a con man who promised that on day one, prices would lower, that we would be into an economic gold age, yet now he's saying there might be 6 months of pain. Just take a look.
You ready for some questions?
Anybody want to buy one?
No.
Okay, let's go.
First, we'd love to get your reaction, sir, to what's going on in the financial markets today.
Well, I mean, it's to be expected. This is a patient that was very sick. We really inherited a terrible economy, as you know.
Here's the thing. If you have a sick patient, you have to be precise in the diagnosis. Meaning that if someone has a tumor on their ankle, you don't cut off their entire leg. If there is a problem or an imbalance, you have to have precision when addressing it. You don't just go and completely tank the entire world's economy.
With a lot of problems.
And also, the patient wasn't even sick. What Trump calls sickness, I call 40 years of economic prosperity in America. Now, yes, I understand there are economic problems in America. There's a massive wealth gap. But if we just take a step back, all things considered, the American economy is pretty solid. It does provide a comfortable life for a lot of people. So the idea that Trump wants to push that away for a big gamble is very terrifying. And it's not very patriotic to say that we're a sick country with a sick economy. We're actually a pretty healthy country before you came along.
Including loss of manufacturing and plants closed up all over the country. You know, we've lost 90,000 plants.
He inherited the strongest economy in the industrialized world. Even with all of America's flaws and our wealth imbalances, the facts just say he inherited the largest and strongest economy in the industrialized world. But check this out. This is a story that I really want to talk about because Laura Loomer visited Trump in the Oval Office today, and 30 minutes later, he fired a few NCS agents, which is terrifying. Now, he was asked about this, and he actually just gave away the secret meeting. He admitted what happened in the secret meeting. I mean, first of all, to lay the groundwork, this article came out from the New York Times. Trump fires 6 NSC officials after Oval Office meeting with Laura Loomer. Laura Loomer is a far-right conspiracy theorist who's pretty terrible person. During the 30-minute meeting, the far-right activist excoriated National Security Council officials in front of the president and Michael Waltz, the national security advisor. The only problem is she said they weren't sufficiently MAGA, but we haven't seen any accountability for Signalgate. So if these people were not sufficiently MAGA, wouldn't they be pushing back? They seem to be pretty loyal, right? President Trump fired 6 national security councils after an extraordinary meeting in the Oval Office with far-right activist Laura Loomer, and I find this terrifying for a few reasons. Number one, letting an extremist conspiracy theorist dictate how we operate our policy just destabilizes the very foundation of the country. Also, it erodes institutional trust even further. For the party that says our institutions can't be trusted, letting an absolute loon into the Oval Office to give you advice is just wild. The firings were described by one of the U.S. officials who had direct knowledge of the matter. The decision came after Ms. Loomer vilified the staff members by name during the meeting on Wednesday when she walked into the White House with a sheaf of papers attacking the character and loyalty of numerous NSC officials. Michael Waltz, the national security advisor, joined later in the meeting and briefly defended some of his staff, though it was clear he had little, if any, power to protect their jobs. It was a remarkable spectacle. Listen to this. Ms. Loomer, who has floated the baseless conspiracy that the September 11th attacks were an inside job and is viewed as extreme by even some of Mr. Trump's far-right allies, was apparently wielding more influence over the staff of the National Security Council than Mr. Waltz himself. Lord have mercy on my soul. Remember, Laura Loomer was forced to leave the Trump campaign. She was excised from the Trump campaign due to how extreme and unpredictable she was. But let's watch what Trump said when he was asked on the plane. I'm sure he denounces her, right, and doesn't double down.
Not seen also.
Can you tell us a little bit about your meeting with Laura Loomer and Mike Waltz today and how that came about?
So Laura Loomer is a very good patriot. She is a very strong person. And I saw her yesterday for a little while. She makes recommendations of things and people. And sometimes I listen to those recommendations like I do with everybody. I listen to everybody and then I make a decision. But
except for any sort of experts or smart people or anybody who knows anything.
I saw her yesterday. She was at the ceremony. And she'll always have something to say, usually very constructive.
What did she recommend?
She recommended certain people for jobs.
Adding to the administration, not
Adding.
Who did she
not
recommend?
firing.
Well, she'll recommend that too.
This dumbass can't even go 5 minutes without implicating himself. She asked, oh, for hiring? And he goes, yeah. And she goes, oh, for firing too? And he goes, yeah, maybe that too.
She'll recommend that too. But yesterday she recommended some people for jobs.
Did she have anything to do with the NSC aides who were ousted?
No, not her.
I don't believe him. He's a liar. I do not believe him. He's lying.
Do you know how many, sir? Do you know how many from the NSC?
Not many.
Was it 5, a dozen?
This dude is so dumb. He literally gave the game away and then contradicted himself. They asked, oh, you have Laura Loomer there to hire people. Yeah. And fire them? Yeah, sometimes. But yesterday, did that happen? No, not yesterday. Even though we have multiple reports, the account of the White House meeting with Miss Loomer and the subsequent firings is based on interviews with 8 people knowledgeable of the events. Not just one unidentified staffer, not just 3 low-down people in the admin, but 8 people who were knowledgeable of deep White House meetings. They asked for anonymity, but the firings included Brian Walsh, the Senior Director for Intelligence, Maggie Doherty, Thomas Boudry, and a few more. Mr. Waltz was not fired, but Mr. Loomer said they weren't sufficiently MAGA. Let me pose the question one more time. Then what does sufficiently MAGA look like? Because these people gave no pushback after the scandal leak. But check out Trump on the plane on Air Force One just seconds ago.
We have a very good dialogue. And I think he was very happy about how we treated them on tariffs.
Sir, there are a lot of people who were upset about how the Daily Mail. A lot of people were upset today about how their 401ks were doing. Do you have investments? Were you looking at them?
I think our markets are going to boom. We've got to give it a little chance. But
He said, I think our markets are going to boom. Got to give it a little chance. Dude, we've given you a few months.
we're taking in jobs.
And by the way, our markets were booming. What do you mean they're going to boom? Our markets were already booming and you stopped the boom.
We're taking in industry. We're taking in trillions of dollars. I think our markets are going to boom. Got to give it a little bit of time. But they've already started construction on numerous plants. Soon it'll be many, many plants. All over the country they go.
Yeah, but he's not giving them the proper grace period or a transition period to actually be able to build their plants without being tariffed out the ass while they're importing the material and hiring people. It's all an incredibly messy scenario, and we'll see where it goes. I'll keep you guys updated. I love each and every single one of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.